Hello there, welcome to the final section of Chapter 2, 2.8. We're going to be talking about function operations and composite functions. So here's where we're really going to get some power. We have functions that define real-life things, and what we're going to be able to do is add them together, multiply them, subtract them, and this will allow us to describe a lot of natural phenomena and do some really powerful mathematics. So what we're going to do here is you can see I've got four things here. I have f of x, one function, and g of x. Remember, we don't solve for f or g. F is just the name of this function. G is the name of this function. So what they want us to do is to find out what is f plus g of 2, f minus g of 2, fg of 5, and that means f times g. If you don't see anything there, that means fg, that means multiply, or f divided by g of 4. So that's what those four mean. There's two ways to do these. You can either add the functions, like plug in 2 into this, plug in 2 into this, and then add it together, and you'll get the answer. Or you can add the functions together and then just plug in 2. So I'm going to show you both ways of doing that. Or you could plug in 2 here, plug in 2 here, and then just subtract, and that would give you that value, and so on. So I'll show you both ways of doing it. So here's the first way. Let's find f plus g of 2. F plus g of x would look like this. You just add the two functions together. Okay, so we just added f plus g, and notice we could do a little simplifying right there, but I'm not going to do that because we want to go straight to plugging in 2. So f plus g of 2, basically you just plug in a 2 everywhere you see x. So that's going to be 4 right there. So 2 plus 8 is 10, plus 4 is 14, minus 1 is 13. So f plus g of 2 equals 13. Easy enough. Add the functions together, plug in 2, and simplify. So 2 plus 8 is 10, 14, minus 1 is 13. Let's do f minus g of 2. Here's one where people make a lot of mistakes. So f minus g, that's a different function than f plus g. And when we subtract this function, we need to subtract all of it. So x plus 8 is the first function, minus, you need to subtract the entire second function. Okay? So if anything, I should have put this in parentheses as well, and parentheses here and here. But those parentheses don't really matter unless you're subtracting or multiplying. So when you're minusing, you need to minus all of the second function. So we distribute that negative sign. So we get x plus 8 minus x squared plus 1. A lot of people only do the minus for the x squared, and then they end up getting it wrong. We want to evaluate this for 2. So technically what we just found, actually, is f minus g of x, because we still have x's in there. So now let's replace the x with a 2. So that'll be 2 plus 8. Remember, this minus is outside of the square, so that's going to be minus 2 squared plus 1. So 2 plus 8 is 10. That's a 4 there, so 10 minus 4 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So f minus g of 2 equals 7. So in other words, if you think of f minus g as being a function, it maps this input of 2 to the output of 7. F plus g is a different function, and it's mapping 2 to 13. So 2 is the domain, 13 is in the range. 2 is in the domain of this function, 7 is in the range of this function. Notice, by the way, if I plug in 2 here, I get 2 plus 8 is 10. If I plug in 2 here, I get 2 squared is 4, minus 1 is 3. Then if I found f plus g, 10 plus 3 is 13. If I found f minus g, 10 minus 3 is 7. So that's another way of doing it if you want, is plug in the values into the functions and then add or subtract, multiply or divide based on what you need. Let's find fg of 5. When you see fg next to each other, that means multiply. So we're going to multiply the two functions together. So it's as simple as x plus 8 times x squared minus 1. There you go. X plus 8 times x squared minus 1. I'm not going to FOIL this because we actually, again, what we just found is fg of x. Sorry about that. That's fg of x, so let's find fg of 5. That's going to be replace x with 5, replace x with 5. That's going to equal 5 plus 8 is 13. 5 squared is 25, minus 1 is 24. And so if we multiply those in our calculator, fg of 5 will equal 13 times 24, which is equal to 312. And the last one, f divided by g of x. Just divide the two functions, but make sure you put f on top and g on the bottom. So f on top, x plus 8. G on the bottom, x squared minus 1. So that's f divided by g of x, given these two functions. And they want us to plug in the number 4. So let's do that. F over g of 4 would equal, we plug in the 4 on the top and get 12, because 4 plus 8. 4 on the bottom is going to be 16, minus 1 is 15. So that's basically the answer. So let's reduce that fraction, divide top and bottom by 3. So f over g of 4 equals, when you reduce that, it's going to be 4/5. So that's how to add, subtract, multiply, or divide two functions and plug in a number to evaluate it. So this is the function for all numbers, or we can plug in a specific number to get a specific output. I think I have enough time to finish this problem. I'm going to go through it a little bit quicker. Let's write out what these functions are and then find their domains in the next part. So I've got a new f, a new g. Let's find f plus g of x. Well, f plus g of x, notice we're not plugging in a number this time. You simply add the two together. 3x minus 2 plus 1 over x. F minus g of x, that's going to equal, you just take f and subtract all of g. So that's going to be 3x minus square root of 3x minus 2 minus 1 over x. Finally, let's do f times g. Remember, this is really important. When you see f and g next to each other, that means f times g. So that's going to be the square root of 3x minus 2 multiplied times 1 over x. Finally, f over g. This one's a little tricky. That's going to equal the square root of 3x minus 2. Make sure you put f on top, divided by 1 over x. And remember, when you have dividing by a fraction, you can do copy dot flip. Dividing by a fraction is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. So in fact, this simplifies to this x kind of comes up on top. So it's x square root of 3x minus 2. So that one was a little tricky, but because we divided by 1 over x, that's the same as multiplying by x, because it's copy, multiply, flip, find the reciprocal. So we're getting close to 10 minutes, and so let's stop here. In the next part, they say give the domains, but hopefully it makes sense how to do f plus g, f minus g, f times g, and f over g. Be careful, if it had said g over f, you would do the flip of this. You would put 1 over x on the top and the square root on the bottom if they had asked for g over f. All right, in the next section, we will find the domain of all 4 of these. So I will see you in part 2.